uh, last Monday. So I saw all of you all 2 weeks ago. This is the 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific Big Joel community call. I see people are still coming on, but we are going to get going because I got a very busy guest today. Housekeeping real quick in the chat. If you haven't been on here before, if you have any questions for me or for Andrew, you can put them in the chat and we will get to them if we have time. We do like to end these calls right at the half hour at 2:30 Eastern because I know you're busy. And we've gotten a lot of feedback that 30 minutes is plenty of time. So this week, I'm super psyched. I got my good friend Andrew Marquis coming in blazing hot from Boston Metro. He's got the blur behind him going on the Zoom. He's looking all good, ready for action. I'm excited. He's letting us borrow 30 minutes of his time today because if you've seen the Scotsman's Guide, I think were you number 5 last year, Andrew? What was your number if you strip out the better mortgage people?
Yeah, top 10 somewhere. Definitely
top 10. There you go. Top 10. But
yep.
but Andrew,
yep.
Andrew of course does refinances like all of us, but Andrew is a purchase guy. As you all know, those of you that know me, those are the only people I have on here are purchase people because I think that's the business that always stays around no matter what the rates are. And he's very exacting. He's extremely organized. And I figured we spend a little time with him today, get him talking about some cool things he's doing, maybe some cool things he's not doing, and see what kind of help we can give all of you all. So Andrew, Andrew's with Guaranteed Rate, by the way. You probably know who he is just based on his stature, his volume. But Andrew Marquis, Andrew, the first question I've been asking everyone, just because it's there, we talked about this a little bit before, the whole inventory thing. I love to ask my guests, you know, Andrew, is there anything that you and your team are doing that you feel is either unique or special or very helpful for your partners regarding just navigating this whole inventory thing? The fact that people might be making 10, 12 offers before they find a house. The fact that your agent partners are stressed out of their minds. I love when people say to me, oh, agents make too much money. I'm like, really? They're making $2 an hour because they're writing so many contracts to get a house. I'd love if there's anything you could share with the group, you know, good takeaways that you think is important to be doing, that you're doing to, obviously your volume has not slowed. Your purchase volume has not slowed at all. So inventory is not a problem for you. So what are you doing to get all those loans in?
So it's really, Joel, like the way I explain it is the realtor partners and the borrowers, they come to us with a need, and any bank or lender can give someone a 2.875 interest rate, right? Our rate's the same as everyone else's. Where they're coming to us is for a solution. So if the challenge is, you know, it's a huge seller's market, there's no inventory, we have to work with the borrower and the realtor to come up with a strategy to get that offer accepted. And it might be running AUS to see if we have a property inspection waiver. So if we have a property inspection waiver, we can waive the appraisal contingency to the seller, right? We can close that loan a lot quicker. Maybe we can close in 14 days. Maybe we're doing a pre-commitment where we're actually underwriting the loan before they have the property. So we're really trying to position the borrower so that they have the highest chance of success with their offer, having the realtor partner on the call, and then also talking through with the borrower how to calculate differences in payment. Hey, if you go up 20 grand on your offer, your payment's only going to go up 75 bucks. If you go up 50 grand on your offer, your payment's only going to go up, you know, 190 bucks. And I think it's important for people to know it that way. So like when people look at the house, they say, oh, you know, I don't want to spend $650 for that house. You know, they're thinking about this huge allotment of money. But when they realize that their payment's only going to be, call it 2,900 bucks a month because the rates are the lowest of all time, maybe they're willing to pay a little bit more to get the house. So it's really working with the realtor to make the buyer as attractive as possible with regard to the terms of their offer, the contingencies, the amount they're willing to offer, how quickly they can close, and what needs to be done to get that deal. And then have the buyer's agent CC you when the offer goes in the listing agent. Call the listing agent, email the listing agent. I've done XYZ, I've run underwriting, the loan's already approved. We either do or don't need an appraisal, and then we can close. And honestly, you might get a listing agent that might start referring your business because they'll say, no one's ever called me proactively like this. No one has done this.
And so, like Andrew, I just want to stop for 1 second. It is amazing the listing agents, I do a lot of stuff with agents, they're getting like 2 phone calls. What you're saying should be SOP for every person on this call, but yet no one's doing it. So you're hearing from Andrew Marquis right now, who's extremely busy, who is spending way more time up front than he did 3 years ago or 2 years ago with a borrower, and then turning around and making that phone call. And guess what? No one's making the call. So if you think you're above making that call, you're crazy, because Andrew Marquis is making that call and he's going to take that loan from you. And that's literally what they're saying to you, right? No one's calling them. Correct?
Right. Totally. Yeah. I've never had this happen
insane.
before. Yeah.
Now, Andrew, what do you do to just get tactical for a minute? Someone gets referred to you by Susie Q at Remax. Hey, Andrew, they're looking for a house in this 700 range or whatever it is. And you talk to the borrower and they say, okay, I want to put 10% down. And you look at their stuff and you see they have like 90 grand or whatever, right? And they got 10%. Are you automatically running it as a 95 and showing them the numbers with like lender paid MI, preparing for them to have to go over and above? What's your SOP with borrowers, getting them prepared for the market?
Totally. So like when it comes to the biggest issue right now, Joel, is increasing prices and appraisals. So the borrower wants to know, hey, if I waive the appraisal contingency, meaning I pay X amount over the asking price, the property doesn't appraise, what's going to happen to me? Every buyer out there thinks they have to bring the difference, Joel. So every single buyer that's trying to buy for 700, they have to offer 800 to get the house. The house only comes in at 750. They think they have to put down another 50 grand. What they don't realize is that they can go from a 90 to a 95% loan to value, maybe put down a little bit extra, maybe none extra. They don't realize that the PMI goes from maybe, $75 a month to $87 a month. So I'm still going to get the house, but my payment's going to go up $12. Well, do you want the house or do you not want the house? Right? And no one talks about lender paid MI. Where I say, all right, well, what we can do is not, you're going to pay the $75 for PMI. I'll tell you what's even better. I'm going to charge you $3 grand. We're going to roll the $3 grand into your loan amount. Your payment's only going to go up $14 a month, and you're going to have no PMI. And that extra 50 grand you thought you had to bring, you don't have to bring it anymore. So it's like these kinds of things. No other loan officers or lenders are educating the borrowers, the realtor, in this fashion to win in this market. I checked our purchase volume. Last year, we did 363 million in purchase. Year to date, we're at 270. Year to date right now, as of this morning.
Yeah, it's Andrew, it's amazing when I was doing, I'm starting to do live stuff again, but I was doing live stuff again, and I would challenge someone to come up and, I just pre-qual them with an HP12C and a pen and a napkin. It is amazing how many loan officers just miss that pencil selling piece. And what you're hearing right now from Andrew is what I call classic pencil selling. And what that means is actually running numbers for someone, showing them all of the different options instead of sitting and just relying on a computer or showing them one thing, really connecting with them. That also makes you super gooey. Because if they are talking to someone else and you're the one doing that, boy, you get gooey really fast. And what I mean by gooey is they are stuck to you. And then they are telling the agent, wow, this guy's awesome. This, I talked to my friends, whatever, they didn't say any of this. Now, Andrew, tell me about your agent partners, because I know you have a lot of them. I've done an event for you. I've met a bunch of them. They're awesome. Tell me about your agent partners. What are you doing to help them even over and above, really going deep with their borrowers? Is there anything else you and your team do that's interesting to sort of ease their pain? I mean, I feel like, a great meme is an agent on a couch, with a loan officer sitting with a clipboard, calming them down as they're writing bazillions of offers, trying to get people in. I asked Andrew, by the way, we were on earlier, I said, hey, what percentage of your deals you think are pocket listings right now? And he said 25%. That's a big number of agents that are just out of the game immediately. They're not even in the game. Is there anything you and your team are doing in an interesting format to just help them through almost mentally?
Yeah, I mean, what you said, we were talking right before the call, Joel, is really realtors want to get out now. They want to see you, they want to see people, they want to do events. I've been out 2, 3 nights a week, going out for dinners, meeting people for lunch. And a lot of the time is spent just trying to get like good morale going again. A lot of people are really in the dumps from COVID, like all the seller's market you're talking about. And there's a lot of frustration out there. And I think when we have those meetings, we can kind of drill into where the frustration is and offer assistance, and I would say from my side, where I can share a lot of value for agents is building their team. If they're right now, they don't know who to hire, where they need to hire, and they're in the weeds with transactional nonsense. I say, look, we want you finding more buyers. You make the big bucks. You get paid well because you originate that client from scratch. And so anything I can do to allow you to bring more clients to the table, tell me, I'll do it. And I really talk with them about how I built my team. For me to be involved in like following up on appraisals or, VOEs or transcripts or any of this other stuff, I need to be adding relationships to our team, adding value and driving, that funnel of business coming in. And any of my time that's spent, if I do my hourly rate out, Joel, and I say, okay, this is what I'm paid per hour, and I'm spending my hourly rate doing, again, ordering appraisals, for example, but, I try to work with the realtor in the same way. And I say, you're great at showing houses, you're great at selling houses, but if that client has to look at 36 houses and make 12 offers before they get accepted, would you really go to all 36 houses? Why can't you get them lined up, establish a rapport, hire a showing assistant to show them the houses, and then you be the deal closer, And while that showing assistant's doing that, find more clients,
So just to translate for everyone, you are actually coaching, adding value through coaching. Now, for those of you that are thinking, he skipped over a tiny part there. And that little tiny part is, you can only do this when you already have a relationship because, they need to trust you first to be able to even have that conversation. So just remember, everyone, when you're hearing that, you don't just grab an agent, take them to lunch and sit them down and start telling them how to run their team. There needs to be a lot of stuff that goes into that before. And Andrew passed over that. I know what he does. I already know what he's doing, but he's done, in Joel language, lots of B2Bs before that happens. So the rapport is there. They're in pain, and he's offering a solution. Andrew, I have some people on these calls, and I'll have loan officers text me. I love it. They're like, oh, I could never do that. I could never do that kind of volume. Andrew, when I met you, you were doing how many purchase loans a month? Seriously, how many? 10?
I don't know,
12?
maybe 12.
Yeah, 12. Okay. So just so you know, that's not that long ago. Maybe it's 10 years ago or whatever, 11 years ago. And this is a marathon, not a sprint. So any of you can do what Andrew's doing if you're focused and you're organized and you actually work. Andrew, the old Brian Minkow, one of the greatest things he ever said, Brian, what's your trick? I work 8 hours a day. What do you mean? 8 hours. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I actually work for the 8 hours. Like, I'm actually working for 8 hours. That's my whole trick. You know what I mean? And you just put your nose to the grindstone and do the work. What kind of advice would you give people on here? People closing 10 loans that want to go to 15, people closing 30 that want to go to 40, or maybe people closing 3 that want to go to 6?
I always say to my team, Joel, is do what makes you feel uncomfortable. So I think there's like this big block, mental block for everyone. I'm not comfortable doing online videos or social media. You probably weren't when you started doing it. But you know what? If it makes you uncomfortable to meet that realtor for coffee, it makes you uncomfortable to go out to dinner, to do the social media video, do what makes you feel uncomfortable and just get good at it. Just get good at it. And I think, the in some ways, it's easier to build your business from 5 to 10 or 10 to 15 because you have more time. And it's like I look at it like there's so many people in our field. It's like 1% does 90% of the business, or whatever it is, because they're not really working. They're not really working, Joel, right?
Yeah.
And it's like every day, my day is systematized. It's like I get up, I work out, I have my coffee, I get on my email, I have my Monday morning call with my team. What are we doing this week? What's our strategy? Who's meeting with who? Who's calling listing agents? Who's, And we're always working, versus you can make yourself feel busy by doing the wrong things, which is a huge waste, right? Like if you sit there, like, you know what, if you're sitting around and you've only got 5 loans in process, why not call those realtors once a week and say, hey, Mary, I just want to let you know this John Smith transaction, it's growing wonderful. We just got the appraisal in, the loan's approved. There's only one condition left. And you know what? We're not even closing for 3 weeks. I should be clear to close next week. Are there any other deals I can help out with? The uncomfortable might be asking for a referral. Like, do all these things that, in the past you've been apprehensive to do, and just go for it.
Yeah, it is absolutely amazing how, there are times when I'll be in an office somewhere and I'm just watching what's going on, and I just watch sort of what I'll call the volume of work that's getting done. And that's why the Brian Minkow I work 8 hours is so powerful, because people are working like 2.5 hours. I mean, they're probably doing something, and then even worse, they're doing the wrong activities for 2 of the 2.5 hours. They're not, look, your job is to find people who know people who need mortgage loans, become best friends with those people and get them to refer people to you. Your job is to get referrals. Your job is not to do the loans. Doing the loans is the easy part. If you don't know how to do the loans, hang it up, get out of the business. Getting the loans is the hard part. If you want to compete at an Andrew Marquis level, you have to be very good at getting the loans, at building those relationships and being able to spend time to build those relationships. Obviously, there's a lot more involved. There's operational stuff involved organizationally when the loans come in, but that's what you have to be keyed in on. And Andrew, sort of takeaway for me listening to you is everyone that's on this call today, you should sit down at the end of the day and say, what did I do today? Literally, what did I do from when I woke up? Look at what you did all day. Take it apart and say, I'm not doing that again tomorrow, period. Because everyone is going to find a whole bunch of gobbledygook and crap that you did that you should have been doing. And by the way, everyone, if you're thinking, oh, Andrew Marquis got a team with 9,000 people on it. No, he does not. I know for a fact he does not. He's not some branch manager putting loans in his name that he doesn't know about. Okay. He's a regular loan officer, just like all of you all, that's extremely organized and has his quote unquote SHIT together. So don't poo-poo what he's saying because you think he's got 19 people working on his team, because he doesn't. Okay. And I know that for a fact. He's just extremely organized. So everyone on this call could be doing exactly what Andrew's doing at different scales with the people you already have. And as you get busier and busier, Andrew, I was on a call a little bit before, and I was on a crush group, and we were talking about email, and someone was complaining. I said, the best loan officers, the ones I work with, they won't even look at an email unless they're in the to and an LOA texted them to say, look at the email. They're in the CC, it's automatically deleted. And if they're in the to, they won't even look at it unless someone texts them and says, Andrew, please look at your email. Because they don't want to get caught up in a bunch of crap that they don't, that all they want to do is see new business. And yes, if something's on fire, you got to deal with it, but something completely on fire, which is at Andrew level, or new business. What else are you looking at? There's nothing else you should be looking at. And yes, when you're new and you're closing 5 loans, you should look at everything. But you heard Andrew very quickly go, hey, if you only have 5 loans, squeeze them like a lemon, make lemonade, call on them all day if you don't have anything else to do.
Yeah. Call the client, say, hey, client, you're already approved. We're not closing for 2 weeks. This has been such a great process. Do you know anyone else that can benefit from this process that might be looking for a home, maybe considering refinancing? Don't be afraid to ask. When you ask, people will refer.
So, Andrew, market, what are you thinking end of the year? What are you thinking 2022, 2023? Give us your prognostication.
Nowadays, I wouldn't even want to say, Joel. I have no idea. No, I'm only kidding.
Not rates, Andrew. I'm just talking market in general. I'm not asking about rates.
Yeah. Well, the inventory, as we were talking, is totally brutal right now. I do think it's going to open up a little bit between probably September and November. I think the rates tick up a little bit when the demand increases during that time frame. I think once we get into the holidays and winter, we have our typical, kind of holiday slowdown. Rates come down a little bit. The demand, at least in the Boston area, so far outweighs the supply, Joel. Like, it's just, I don't know when the seller's market is going to end. I don't know. And the problem is with house prices having gone up so much, Joel, I can't see the rates going up quickly at all because it'll shock the prices like we had 13 years ago, 12, disaster times. So
Yes,
I
disaster
think
times.
rates will very slowly incline. I think there's still a ton of people that should have refinanced or could benefit from yet another refi. And I think you need to, like Joel said at the beginning, the most important thing here is to build your purchase referral base. Have that foundation of, you're going to close X number of loans every single month, regardless of interest rates, and then use the refis for bonus income when they come through.
Yeah, we used to, Andrew, what I used to do is each month, this is back, we got paid once a month, when we had big refi markets, we would come in and everyone would take their checks. All loan officers would take their checks. Pat Casey's on here right now. I don't know if he remembers me doing this. And we would subtract out any income from refinances, and I would make everyone put it in a separate account and say, you're not allowed to spend it. You can't, you're not allowed to spend it. You can only live on the purchase, on the stuff you made on the purchases. It was pretty good sage advice, and a bunch of loan officers that saved, a whole bunch of money, because people are going to buy and sell if the rates are 9. It doesn't matter, if they need to buy and sell. Well, Andrew, thank you. Let me just check the chat. I don't know, Josh, is there anything in the chat? Not right now. Andrew, thank you so much for spending some time with us, and everyone, again, I just want to tell you, when I have people like Andrew on, I know you guys look at things and you're like, that guy's in the stratosphere. I'm telling you right now, he's a normal guy. He's a loan officer. He doesn't have a bazillion team members. Anyone on this call could be doing what he's doing if you organize yourself and if you actually work and if you actually focus on the right activities. I don't know if you heard him. He didn't say focus, but he said it 50 times on the call, being very deliberate about what you're doing. The other thing he said in passing very quickly was regarding the agents wanting to be out. I know we have this Delta thing going on right now, but agents just wanting to be out. And if you're not taking advantage of that, if you're not in front of them, someone else is. Andrew Marquis in front of your agent if you're not. And you need to be out, and you need to be establishing rapport. And if anything, if you want to be able to help them and coach them, you can't do that if you don't have rapport. The only way to have rapport is to do your B2Bs. And I'll tell you, those of you that are in a Joel plan on this call, if you're not doing 3 to 4 B2Bs a week, you're failing right now. That's 3 to 4. And if you say, oh, I'm too busy, whatever. No, the best loan officers in the business are not too busy. They're doing it because that's where all of those referrals are coming from. So Andrew, you think we're going to have, so what about cash out refis? Just real quick. You think we're going to have a little run on those because of all the loans we did and the price and the value's gone so far up?
Yeah, I have a good amount of that. And I think, people are looking to access some of that capital, that equity growth, as you talked about it, Joel. They're really using that money to either get the guns loaded for an investment or second home purchase, right? Or a lot of them are adding on to their house. We talked with the pandemic, people are adding pools or putting an addition, making their house more COVID friendly, so to speak. So absolutely, cash out refis. And again, people don't know what they don't know. And I think everyone out there, there's this misconception that refinancing is just lowering your interest rate. They're not aware of shortening your term, consolidating debt, like you said, taking cash out for any other need. Some people think cash out's taxable. No, it's not taxable. It's a loan. So there's all these things that, like, if you're not out there, like, sharing these options with people, they don't even know what options exist, So don't take it for granted that people don't, are aware of these things.
Yeah, and it's amazing. That's great. That's great sage advice right there. Just don't take for granted people are aware. Don't take for granted people are calling a listing agent. Because I'm telling you, you just heard Andrew Marquis hear it. You say it. Andrew, there's been 12 loan officers before you over the past 4 months, all said the same thing. I'm calling them. I'm the only guy calling, or the only gal calling. And it's amazing. And there's people on this call that still are not doing it. So if you're wondering, well, how's he getting all those loans through? I mean, there's no inventory. Wah! I don't understand. Well, he's actually working. He's making sure they go through. So, Andrew, thank you so much for your time. I know how slammed you are, and I really appreciate you carving out some time for us. Andrew, if someone wanted to ask you a question, what is the best way to find you? You want email? Is it social media? What's the best way to find you?
I think email would be great, Joel. It's andrew@rate.com.
Okay, Andrew@rate.com. I think Josh is probably going to throw that in the chat right now. Andrew@rate.com. Andrew's a great guy, and he's very helpful. So I'm sure he will get back to you, maybe not in 10 seconds, but he will if you have a question. Everyone, B2Bs, B2Bs, B2Bs all day. And start counting your BICs right now, people, your butts and cars, because we're going to have an epic fall market, and you will be flipping and turning them at 100 miles an hour. BICs, butts and cars, fully approved, all docs in, LOXs, large deposits, everything done, contract, appraisal, title, close. Okay, the best loan officers in the country have 100 plus of them sitting around just waiting for contracts. So there's no reason for you not to be in the same boat. Again, Andrew Marquis, guaranteed rate, Boston Metro, Massachusetts. Thank you so much for your time. I will see everybody next Monday. See you all later. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Joel.
Bye-bye.